Everyone, happy Wednesday. If it's Wednesday where you're watching, I know I have some friends in here that might be watching overseas. So wherever you are, welcome in. I would love for you to say hello in the comments. I am once again fighting sickness, guys. I don't know about you, but I am tired of all this sickness that's going around. It has been hitting our household hard. I had been sick a couple weeks ago, finally starting to feel like myself again. And then my 6-year-old started running a fever again at the end of the or beginning of the week, and now it's caught me. But here I am. I am going to hang with you guys the best I can. And I hope you guys are all doing well in your households, that you are staying healthy, and that everything is going well. If you are new to my space, by the way, I'm Alexandria. I'm a women's worth and empowerment coach. I help women to believe in their worth, build their confidence, so you can then step into a life of alignment with your desires, with your dreams. So you're not afraid to go after those big dreams. Maybe it's being a more present mom. Maybe it's being a more present spouse. Maybe it's becoming an entrepreneur and going after that big vision that you have. Whatever it is, that's what I am here to support you in. I'm here to support you in that journey. So, with that being said, tonight we are talking about the cost of waiting. We are talking about how fear of failure is stealing your dreams and how you can go ahead and take action anyways. All right, because that's where you're going to start building that confidence. And this is focused around my second pillar within my framework. I don't remember if we talked second pillar last week. I've slept since then. If we did, I apologize. We'll just cover it again anyways with a little bit different content. But again, if you're watching this on the replay or if you're catching this live, I encourage you to say hello. I'm looking over at my phone just to make sure I don't miss any comments. But say hello as you drop in and let's get started. So first, what I want you to do, and even if you're catching this on the replay, I want you to take a deep breath with me. All right. I know for me, like by the time I get to the end of the day, I am so rushed and so frazzled. Sometimes it feels good just to stop and take a deep breath. So go ahead and inhale and exhale. Because right now we are creating a moment just for you. This is our space, our time to connect, and your space to just be present, relaxed, whatever it is that you need in this space is for you. All right. Now, I want you to think, we're going to go on a couple journeys tonight. I want you to be open with yourself. I want you to be honest with yourself. I want you to be vulnerable, and really think through some of the thought processes that I'm going to take you through, okay? But I want you to picture yourself 1 year from now, okay? Really, really get into this. Picture yourself 1 year from now. Imagine waking up, feeling proud, feeling fulfilled, because you finally took action on whatever dream or desire it is that you've had for a while now. You've been working towards your goals. You stopped waiting. You stopped doubting yourself. And you finally stepped into the woman that you were meant to be. Picture that in your head. What does that look like? Let me know in the comments. What does that vision look like for you? And in fact, I didn't check my sound, so I'm going to do that really quick. Give you guys a chance to drop it in the comments. Check my sound. Perfect. All right, just making sure that I wasn't talking to nobody. I know sometimes tech issues can step up. So right now you're envisioning stepping out in bold confidence, chasing those goals that you have, those dreams that you have, and you're envisioning that in your head, okay? Now let me ask you something. How many of you have ever had a moment where you thought, if I just started a year ago, where would I be today? Drop a me in the comments if you have. If you've ever had that thought, where would I be today had I started working towards my goals a year ago? Maybe that was working out. Maybe that was eating healthier. Maybe it was starting a business. Maybe it was becoming, I don't know, starting a devotional. Whatever it is that's specific to your journey, where would you be had you started that? Ladies, I used to say the same exact words to myself year after year. And if you've been in this space long enough, you know that I've had it on my heart for a long time to become an empowerment coach for women. I've always had a passion for helping. And then just the longer I have lived my life, which I know isn't very long yet, I pray that I'm blessed with several more, but the more I've lived my life, like I have found my passion in really supporting and encouraging women. I think it's such a beautiful space to be in. And that's what I'm passionate about. But I found myself really watching women step into their dreams. I don't know how many times I would scroll social media and there's a couple big coaches that I follow, and I would be so held back by fear, but yet be like, gosh, it would be amazing to be doing what they're doing, to be empowering women like they're empowering women. Yet I would never take that first step. I would stay trapped in my head. I had this deep passion, this deep fiery passion, these amazing beliefs, and yet I wasn't taking action because I was afraid. What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I let my family down? And I let those thoughts continue to control me year after year after year. I would stay stuck in my head and I wouldn't take any action. And when I did take action, it wasn't in alignment with what I knew was on my heart. Like I would start other side hustles and think, this is a stepping stone to get me there. And while I learned a lot from each of those adventures that I went on, it still wasn't in alignment with what my passion was. And it showed up in the way I was showing up. So I finally realized not long ago that my biggest fear had already come true. I was failing. And it wasn't because I tried and failed. It was because I didn't try at all. I wasn't going after what I wanted to go after. So with that being said, what is the hidden cost of waiting? And I want you to apply this to your life. Think about that one thing that you've been waiting to do. We convince ourselves that waiting is the responsible thing to do, that we need more clarity, that we need more time, we need more confidence before we could start. But what we're failing to realize is that waiting is not neutral. All right, it's just costing you. It's costing you more time that you don't have a lot of. Waiting costs you time. Sorry, ladies. So I want you to think back on that goal that we were talking about earlier. Think back to that goal that you have had for years, all right? Maybe it was launching a business. Maybe it's writing a book. Like I said, maybe it's as simple as starting to work out. Maybe it's as simple as eating a little bit healthier. Maybe it's going out more in public. I don't know. But think about something specific to you, something you've been thinking about for a while. Now I want you to think about what would have happened had you have taken action on it when you first felt called to do it. Where would you be today? Ladies, time is something we don't get back, all right? But we can stop wasting it. That's the best part. And I don't know, like, especially those of you that are in my group inside this community, inside my group that are in the same community as me, like, I feel like 2025 has started with a bang, and not in a good way, right? Like, there has been a lot that has already happened. And it seems like each time something traumatic happens, we always tell ourselves, gosh, life is so short. We got to live life to our fullest. But how many of us say that? And then a week later, we have fallen back into old habits because we're continuing to let that fear keep us stuck. So if that's you, that's like, hear me talking to you tonight. All right, message me. Let me support you on this journey. But just know time is not something you're going to get back. Another thing is waiting is going to cost you confidence. All right. Confidence does not come before action. And you've heard me say this time after time in these lives. If you watch any of the videos I post, I say it again and again. It does not come before action. You have to take action to build the confidence. It happens because of action. So every time you hesitate, you're reinforcing that belief subconsciously that you're not capable of doing it. And your subconscious mind is so powerful in your actions. So the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to start. All right, let's go back to the working out. Maybe that was your goal. Maybe your New Year's resolution for the beginning of this year. And we're only in February, right? But maybe it was to work out more. But you keep putting it off. The longer you wait, the weaker you're going to feel, the more stories you're going to start building up in your head, the more intimidating those workouts become, whether you go to the gym or work out at home. And then the harder it is to start. But ladies, once you take that first step and then take it again and stay consistent with taking those steps, you build momentum and it becomes easier. But as soon as you stop and you fall back into that comfort zone, it's going to get hard again. All right. And I find that with myself, like since I've been so sick, part of my morning routine is working out. Like that is part of my daily habits, just because I know, like for me, having a healthy mind, having a healthy body, and having a healthy spirit is such an integral part of my day and my lifestyle. But since I've been sick, I've had to back way off on my workouts. So getting back into that routine, it's hard, right? You start telling yourself these stories in your head of, oh, I'm too tired, I'll start tomorrow. And then guess what? Tomorrow comes and you tell yourself that same story. And now you've ingrained it into your subconscious mind and you don't get started. All right, so reframe that. I'm going to start with 5 minutes today. Maybe it's 5 minutes of walking. There's nothing wrong with that, but at least you started. And then the next day, build it up just a little bit more. But you've got to start somewhere. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be explosive. You have to start somewhere. So the third thing is waiting is going to cost you your dreams. Okay, it's the hardest to hear, but it's the truth. Most women never go after their dreams, not because we don't have what it takes, but because we never get past that waiting phase. We never get past that fear of starting. We stay stuck. Imagine if the women you admire, whoever that is, and drop it in the comments. Think of someone that is super inspiring to you. All right. I love Mel Robbins, motivational speaker. I also love, and I can't think of her name, but Tony Robbins' wife. Her name is not coming to me right now. But think of the big, inspiring women in your life, right, that you've looked up to. What happens if they would have never started because they were scared? What if Oprah never stepped into her calling? What if your favorite author never wrote their book? Okay, so now take that thinking and ask yourself, who is missing out in your life because you haven't stepped into your purpose yet? Who, and that was something that I challenged myself with, like when it takes confidence to put yourself out there, right? But who is missing out? Whose life can I help? Even if it's in some small way, by speaking out and helping and empowering women. But if I never do it, if I never step outside of my comfort zone, who is missing out because of that? So when you change your perspective and change your thinking and reframe it into who is missing out because I'm not starting, that makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so I have an activity for you. If you're catching this on the replay, pause this after I go over this. All right, but I encourage you to actually take the time to do it. I have a journal prompt for you. Okay, I want you to take this exercise and give it a go. But I want you to take a moment and I want you to write this down. What has waiting cost me so far? And again, everybody's going to be different in your journey and what it is that you've been waiting on. It might be something big and scary, like starting a business, like I'm doing. It might be being a more present mama. It might be being a more present spouse. It might be working out. So taking those, whatever it is for you, what has waiting cost you so far? What has not taking that first step cost you? And be honest, ladies. This is for you to see. It's for your eyes only. Be honest with yourself. What moments, what opportunities, and what growth has passed you by because you were too afraid to start? Okay, so again, if you're catching this on the replay, I encourage you to go ahead and hit pause, write that prompt down. And if you want to work on it later, that's fine, but make sure you write that prompt down and go work on that. Okay, now let's talk about fear. Ladies, fear is not your enemy, it's your compass. And that sounds so crazy, I know, but that's why I call my second phase, my second pillar, the inner compass activation. We always think of fear as something to avoid. It's something bad, right? But what if I told you to reframe your thinking? Instead of thinking of fear as a stop sign, think of it as your compass. How would that change your perspective on fear? Fear often shows up when something matters to us, when you're on the edge of that big breakthrough that you're going for. Okay, so think about this. Do you feel fear when you make your morning coffee? Probably not, right? But do you feel fear when you're putting yourself out there, chasing a dream, doing something bold? If yes, it's because it's something that matters to you, something that really is important. And here's the thing, fear is trying to protect you. All right, our brains are wired for survival. That's what fear is. It's wired into us to help us survive. It helped our ancestors survive back in the caveman days, right? It protected them from all the wild predators, kept them alive. But it also, like, it can't tell the difference between it's protecting you from wild predators, which we don't have to worry about as much now because of our lifestyle, versus that fear of putting yourself out there because you're going to be judged. Your brain sees it the same way. That fear is in there to protect you, but it can't tell the difference. All right, so in that sense, when we put it towards that thinking, putting yourself out there, starting to work out, starting to speak your truth, whatever it is, that fear is not a warning sign, ladies. Okay, it's proof that you are growing. You're growing. It's not going to go away. You just have to learn how to move through it. It's going to be there, right? But every time you push outside of your comfort zone just a little bit, it gets a little bit easier. So courage is not about waiting until you feel fearless. All right, it's about taking that action regardless. It's about taking that action even when you're scared. Because every time you take that action, even when you're scared, you learn to trust yourself a little bit more. And how powerful that is. What a beautiful place to be in when you fully trust yourself. All right, so again, I have another exercise for you. Pause this once I explain it, write it down, come back and work on it later. It's up to you. But I want you to think of something you've been avoiding out of fear. Okay, maybe it's starting a business. Maybe it's setting a boundary. That's something that I feel like I have gotten so much better with, especially even as I'm building my programs and stuff. It can be scary, but oh my goodness, it's so empowering when you do. Or maybe it's taking the next step towards your goal, whatever that goal is. Okay, so think about what you've been avoiding out of fear. Now ask yourself, what is the absolute worst thing that could happen if I try and fail? What's the worst that could happen? Now we're going to reframe that thinking. Okay, we're going to flip it around. The next thing I want you to ask yourself, and write this down, journal this out. What is the best thing that could happen if I try and I succeed? And here's the other piece of that, ladies. Like I said, I have tried other business ventures before, other side hustles, right? And though I wasn't successful in the way that I wanted to be, I wasn't successful like financially in the way that I thought I was going to be, I still learned so much from each of those. Each of those things that I tried because I was willing to try it. Again, it wasn't in alignment with what I wanted to do, So I didn't take the actions that I needed to take to make it be successful. But I still learned something from each of those adventures. And I guarantee you, even if you step out and it doesn't work out the way you want it to, you can probably take stuff from it. You can learn something from it, which is just as big. So now you take that and you either try again and make the tweaks and the adjustments, or you apply it to whatever your next goal is. Use it as a learning opportunity. That fear shrinks when you face it head on. And when you realize that the worst case scenario isn't as bad as the fear that's keeping you stuck and making you miss those opportunities, that's when everything in your mind starts to shift. That's when you're more willing to take those risks and to take a chance on it, on yourself. Ladies, if this is hitting home, say me in the comments, let me know. So how did I finally break free from the fear that was holding me back? And how can you? I spent so much time waiting for confidence, right? Like I said, I went through those side hustles and wasn't successful, but I was still holding myself back from what I really wanted to do. And then I finally decided, like, something in me just clicked, something snapped, that I'm just going to put myself out there. I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to go all in and I'm going to do it right. And the more I've done that, the more my confidence has built. The more I'm able to take action, even when I feel scared, even when I feel that fear start to kick in. So you need to start by shifting your perspective on failure. All right. And again, I remind you, confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you have to create. I used to think that failure meant I wasn't good enough at something. All right. That it was just proof that I should quit. But now, like I said, I learned something from every single one of those adventures that I was on. So now I look at failure as feedback. I take whatever I can take, even at the end of these lives, ladies. I take information from that and look at how I can improve myself next time. Use it as feedback. Use it to support you in your journey. And if you need to reach out for help, reach out for help. There is nothing wrong with that. As women, we have such a hard time, and that's probably one of my biggest struggles. We have a hard time asking for help. Reach out for help. Get somebody to support you. Maybe it's a close friend. Maybe it's your spouse. But get somebody to support you, okay? But keep in mind, every failure is just another step forward. The only real failure on your journey is staying stuck and not taking action. Okay, so the second step to this is to start small. And when I say small, ladies, I mean small. I mean really small, like bite-sized chunks. Okay, think of, you have your king-size Snickers bar, and then you have the fun little Halloween fun-size ones. We're talking fun size. Start small. The biggest reason we don't take action is because it seems so overwhelming, and we think that first step has to be this giant one. Like I said, if your goal is working out, go for a walk for 5 minutes. Tomorrow, and make it a non-negotiable, I'm going to go walk for 5 minutes. If it's eating healthier, okay, look at your diet and think of one thing that you can take out starting tomorrow. All right, don't make this big overhaul life change, because then you are just setting yourself up for failure. All right, bite size. Don't make that first step a big one. Instead of saying, I have to change my whole life, start by saying, what is one thing I can do today? What is one small, easy step? And then track it, ladies. Track those wins. When you go out and take that 5-minute walk, write it down. I did it. Because then a year from now, when you look back and you are working out like it's no big deal, imagine the space that you're going to be in because of it. Those small wins build momentum. That momentum is going to build your confidence. And then that confidence turns you into this beautiful, unstoppable woman that you're meant to be. And then the third thing I want you to think about is I want you to make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. And that is so much easier said than done, right? Like even in this space, it's so easy to listen to the naysayers of, Only the lucky coaches make it. You just have to have like luck to be successful. You have to make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. So I have made sure just on this journey that the communities I hang out in are successful people. They're the coaches that I look up to, right? I'm making sure to surround myself in a winning environment because that's where growth is going to happen. Growth requires the right environment. So if you're trying to grow, but everyone around you is living small, you're really going to feel like an outlier. Okay. And that makes it hard. That makes your journey hard. So find a space that people are thinking bigger, that they're moving boldly, and that they're taking action. And then notice the shift that you see in yourself. I know most of us heard as kids, you are who you hang out with, and it is so true. Those that are around you, their habits wear off on you. The way they speak wears off on you, and you start taking it on. So be careful who you're hanging out with and who you're listening to. And maybe you're not in a space like physically where you can escape, but remember, even on social media, be careful the groups you're hanging out in. Find a group that uplifts you, that is in line with whatever goals it is that you have. Because there's a group out there for just about everything. So find the group and the space that you need to be in that supports you. And if you find that it's draining you, that's not the right space for you. All right. So drop a me if any of that hits home. Let me see it in the comments. I would love to know. But ladies, this is where your next steps start. All right. If you are done waiting, if you are ready to take that first step, I really encourage you to reach out to me and start my 90-day mastermind. All right. You're going to reprogram your identity into a confident, unstoppable version of yourself that you're meant to be. You're going to learn how to take bold, aligned action, and you're going to learn how to not let that fear hold you back. Now, notice I didn't say we're going to get rid of the fear because that doesn't happen. All right, that fear is always going to be there, but we learn how to live fearlessly. How we meet that fear head on and we say, you know what, that's okay. You will have the support, you'll have the strategies, and you'll have the accountability to make the rest of this year a year that everything changes for you. So I encourage you, comment I'm ready in the comments if you want more details. Let's talk about what's possible for you. Ladies, the choice is yours, and I believe in you. I want you to believe in you. I am sending you so much love. I will see you in the comments. I'm empowering you always.